talking about the consumer behavior, and also talking about revenue generation. So that's what we've got for you for today. Let me acknowledge some of our colleagues who are here as a program host, and I'll be acknowledging a lot more of them. Let me say a big welcome to Aminu Shadow. Thank you very much for joining. He is the general manager of the Ghana Premier League club, Dreams FC. Very well. Let me then take you to some of the rules that we've got for the webinar, as every webinar has. I've got just 3 gentlemen and ladies. Please do mute your mic when you don't have the floor. The second would be use the raise your hand option in the Zoom, and I'll be glad to call you when the open floor is up. And for the third, please then, for each session, there's going to be time, as I've said, 2 minutes on the open floor. If your time has elapsed, your mic will automatically go off. So those are the rules. So you're very much welcome to what is a special webinar. We'll be right back. So if you just joined us, you're welcome to the Ghana Premier League webinar brought to you by the African Sports Center in collaboration with the Johan Cruyff Institute on a very, very pertinent topic which seeks to digest issues based on consumer behavior, the preference, and the revenue opportunities. As I said, you can tweet on social media, be part of all our conversation. You can use the hashtag GPLRW2021 and get the message across to many who are listening or watching, or perhaps following on social media. My name is Philip Sitsofe Atsrim. You can call me Sitso for this purpose. Never hesitate to drop anything in the chat session if you want to draw my attention, and I'll be here to help. Now, time for me to introduce our expert panel. They'll be going through a lot of the things that we've got for today. They'll be taking the questions, taking your questions as well, and they'll be giving us all their remarks. First would be this man. He's a researcher, a journalist, an entrepreneur, with years of experience in sports and health industries. In his own words, he is passionate about all things sports, data research technology, and media. He is the founder of the African Sports Center, a center that is committed to championing the use of scientific and technical methodologies in innovations to develop sports, largely by data research and technologies. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's welcome Mr. Prince Narkortu Teye, CEO and founder of ASC. Prince, lovely to have you. How are you doing?
I'm fine, Sitso, and good to have you. And I'm really excited to join this session and discuss with you all.
Thank you very much for coming as well. To our next panel, he is one person who is a sports marketing, sports sponsorship consultant with extensive knowledge and expertise in sports business. He's the online learning manager at the Cruyff Institute, and he is in the person of Mr. Lukas Dorda. Mr. Dorda, thank you for coming. Lovely to see you. How are you doing? What are you looking forward to see?
Thank you very much for having me, guys. I hope everything is well now, and it's great to be here.
Real pleasure to have you. All right, the last but by no means the least. He has an extensive experience in sports industry, particularly in commerce, governance, administration, and ethics, as well as marketing. He's just signed a deal worth 2 years, worth 1.3 million Ghana cedis for 2 years with Betika for his club. How appropriate is it to have him on this very platform to discuss the Ghana Premier League report? Because his club is the most successful in the league. Won 9 FA Cups, 3 Ghana Super Cups, 2 Champions Leagues. The person we're talking about, Mr. Nana Yaw Amponsah, CEO of Asante Kotoko Sporting Club. Mr. Nana Yaw Amponsah, thank you for joining and thanks for being part of this. Hello, Mr. Nana Yaw Amponsah.
Hello, Sitso. Can you hear me? Yeah,
I can hear you quite clearly.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Lovely to have you.
Yeah, pleased to be on a panel with you, and I look forward to learning from you all.
Exciting stuff. So there you have it. We've got Mr. Narkortu Teye, we've got Mr. Dorda, we've got Mr. Nana Yaw Amponsah, and these will be three of our experts panel. Well, the Ghana Premier League report came out with incredible knowledge and key takeaways, which we'll be delving into in a jiffy. A lot of which blew minds, and we're looking at how to exploit those things that we saw in the Ghana Premier League. Some of the numbers are staggering, some of the revelations are brilliant, and from the African Sports Center, these are 12 key takeaways. I'll glance through them briefly, then we'll get to the discussion and set the ball rolling. So if you just joined, you are welcome. The first key takeaway from the Ghana Premier League report was this, that the 2021 Ghana Premier League report survey registered a high, that is 60%, but decreased 14% football interest amongst respondents, with male and millennials the most dominant of the group. Down for 2, a slight decline, that is 2% in general awareness, and more significant fall, that is 18%, in followership of the Ghana Premier League was recorded. 3, although Ghana has a national population which consists of more female than male, female contributes only 18% of fans who know about the Ghana Premier League. 4, having emerged as the third most supported club in the Ghana Premier League in 2020, Lagos Cities have drastically fallen down the pecking order to 11th in 2021. Newly promoted RTU have taken up the third spot behind Asante Kotoko and Hearts of Oak. For 5, Asante Kotoko's Brazilian playmaker Fabio Gama is the new star attraction in our Premier League, replacing Ghana's legend Asamoah Gyan, who emerged top of respondents' choice in 2020. 6, in 2021, less people, 34%, would choose to watch the Ghana Premier League game over the European League game. A contrast to 2020 finding, where the majority of respondents, that is 56%, preferred the Ghana Premier League. 7, Ghana Premier League has dropped down from 5th position in 2020 to 6th in 2021 on the ranking of the most followed football competition in Ghana. The World Cup remains top, and the English Premier League is in 2nd. There's a rise in knowledge of the TV broadcast and identity of broadcast channels in the Ghana Premier League games in 2021-2022 season, a situation also reflected in increased rating of the rights holders. For 9, with the world opening up to COVID-19, more people, that is 3% rise, are willing to visit the stadium, that is 60%, toward the Ghana Premier League, as against following via media, that is 27%. Now, a 27% decline in preference to watch the Ghana Premier League live stream was recorded. A 13% decrease was registered in the use of social media to follow news, events, happenings in the Ghana Premier League. Again, a fall of 4% in willingness to subscribe to pay TV to access Ghana Premier League games was recorded. Now, the last 2 points. Jersey ownership, that is 54%, rose for the 3rd year running, with Kotoko 49% and Hearts 29%, contributing to the most of this group. However, less people, that is 27% decrease, are willing to buy a jersey of a team they do not support, although the figure still stood high at 71%. Now, last of that key takeaway is this one. For the 3rd straight year, an increase in percentage of respondents who indicated that they bet or have ever bet, that is 38% on the Ghana Premier League match day, was recorded. All right, so these are some key takeaways, some major revelations as far as the Ghana Premier League report is concerned. And that straight away takes us to where we need to go, start having the conversation about the Ghana Premier League. And who else to start than the one who is behind the reports in itself, Mr. Prince Narkortu Teye. Let them come straight to you. Those are some fascinating takeaways. Now, there's absolutely no doubt, Prince, that there is the need for scientific data and research in sports, which can never be understated. What has been the case in Africa, specifically Ghana, and what prompted you into going into this report, and what made you feel this was needed in Ghana?
Okay, a very good afternoon to everyone around the globe watching this. I think that Africa, as we all know, has really been lagging behind in terms of data, research, and technology in boosting not just sport, but every other facet of our life. And sports has obviously been one of the areas that really needs to up its game when it comes to data, research, and technology. If we look through the system, we can see that there's a huge little exploitation of data and research for that matter. And what that has meant is that most of the decisions that we make in our businesses, even on the pitch, in our transfers and in player recruitment and all these things, they seem not to be as strong as they possibly could. And what is the reason behind a little exploitation of data and research, probably because of our mindset, because most people still have not come to the realization that sports is a business. And so with the painstaking effort you take into maximizing your profits as a business in researching your industry, collecting data, and be able to make informed decisions, you need that approach as well in sports. Also, there seems to be a knowledge gap about really what this whole data thing is about, what it can do for you, how best it can be exploited, and what sort of edge it can give you in business or even on the pitch or wherever. And there's also a practice theory gap, because I mean, on one hand, some group of people are producing data, they're producing their knowledge, but the question is, who are the people producing this data? What contextual factors affected their production of the data? And for Africa, where we do not really do a lot of the data work ourselves, we do not do the research, but we are just interested in data from elsewhere. How well do these data that people come to dump on, how does it really apply to our context? So oftentimes you see that people could take some bit of information from the European context, from American context, right, to apply it to our context, and it doesn't work because the contextual issues surrounding that data collection is not exactly the same. And I think that has been one of our problems. And obviously, there's a systemic problem, because obviously if you're in a system where money is hard to come by, clubs have bigger things to think about. They have player salaries to pay, they have coaches to pay. You don't really want to be going to clubs and be asking them to be investing in technology. I mean, I'm sure Nana Yaw will speak a lot more about that. So we have a lot of situations that make it difficult for us to exploit data. Some of it, are things that are almost beyond our control, like the systemic challenges. But there are some other challenges, like the mindset, the knowledge gap that exists, and things that are not really helping us. And I think that really is a problem in Africa. It means that our decisions are not as strong as they could be. We are not able to identify the right problems and put forward the right interventions. Our projects are not sustainable, they are not profitable. We lose revenue because the right form of research, the right form of data that needs to go into that has not been done.
All right. Now, you spoke about challenge, which we want to come to on this one, because it's fascinating. We all know that in part of the world, we've got these challenges, but you in particular, what were some of the challenges in putting together the Ghana Premier League reports? And for you also personally, what was the most remarkable finding in the process?
I think that in terms of challenges for the Ghana Premier League report, these things that I've said, which are generic challenges, the mindset issue, the knowledge gap, the theory practice gap, systemic issues, and even the political issues. I mean, because there are issues about political stability and all these things and how it affects projects and data collection and research and all these things. Aside from that, obviously, if you are working in the Ghana industry where prior to the start of the Premier League itself, you are not really so sure if the league was going to kick off. Even this particular season, I mean, a week, 2 weeks to the start of the league, we're not even so sure whether the league was going to come off, whether it was going to be postponed. So if you're a business organization like the ASC, and you want to make sure that you collect the data right before the league starts, because if you collect the data too early, then you are not going to be getting the right form of information you are looking at. And you don't also want to collect it so late, such that, I mean, once you get into the system, the data comes out pretty late for the Ghana Premier League, because in as much you wanted this data to be some form of a promotional material ahead of kickoff of the GPL. So if you're in that system where you don't really know if the league is going to kick off or not, then it becomes a problem with reference to planning your activities. And also, because we also did not know if the league was going to start, if most of the Ghana Premier League clubs, everyone would attest to the fact that this particular year, the promotion was low. So even on social media of the clubs, you go to the Premier League club and there's absolutely nothing that shows that there's a league that is about to start. What this also means is that for a lot of people out there, they don't also have enough knowledge. So you go out there asking them questions about the upcoming season, and they don't really seem to be able to speak to the upcoming season because they have little knowledge about the upcoming season. They have little knowledge about which players have been signed or are being signed. I mean, one of the key things I should mention was Abdul Fattah Issahaku. He is now like the poster boy for a lot of people in terms of his age, and Fabio Gama came up tops. But really, if Fattah Issahaku had signed for Dreams early, he would have really given Fabio Gama a very good chase for his money, and that would be very, very good for the GPL. But Fattah Issahaku came on really, really late, even after we had finished collecting the data. So some of these things, I mean, for the kind of information that you are looking at, late business on the part of the Ghana Premier Leagues, it doesn't really help you to get some of the the strongest possible data points that you can find. And I think that was also one of the issues that we had collecting this particular data.
Okay, thank you very much, Prince. I'll get back to you. Those were brilliant and salient points that you've made there. Let me come to you, Mr. Nana Yaw Amponsah. Let me get back to that report and what you revealed. I mean, as Ghana's, one of your status as Ghana's, one of Ghana's biggest clubs, by the way of fan base, it continued to be highlighted in the Ghana Premier League reports year on and year on. This year, you led again by 32%, while Hartlepool were with 28%. That has been the traditionally benefited both clubs, particularly on match day proceeds, because you've got the fan base and what have you. But beyond this, do you think the two big clubs that we've got in here have been innovative enough to make the most of the fan base and increase revenue, Mr. Nana Yaw Amponsah?
Thank you very much, Sitcho. Thank you, everyone. The first point is that data is gold. And when I say data is gold, you need to mine that data. You need to identify the data. Basically, there's been this talk of Kotoko has having over 10 million supporters without any to back it. It's as simple as that. If you ask any of the two clubs, what is your number? Give us the data to back it. They can't do it. And so when I came in at Kotoko, one of the first things that I sought to do with my management is to institute the Fabulous Census Project. And for a year now, together with the National Circus Council, we've been working very hard on the Fabulous Census Project. The Fabulous Census Project seeks to register Kotoko supporters into a centralized database where we can mine that data, our sponsors can mine that data. It is one of the reasons why sponsors have bought into our philosophy and they are coming on board. So if you ask whether beyond the gate proceeds we've taken advantage, I'll say no. I always say that how many people can you get into the Baba Yara Stadium? Not more than 40,000. Same applies to the Accra Sports Stadium. But you can reach many more people, millions on match days. And that is where pay-per-view also comes in. Because if you look at boxing, look at football, the number of people, I mean, there are clubs in England, EPL, who don't even command more than 20,000 capacity. But on every match day, they have millions across the world, watching their games. And they are not watching for free. They are paying for it. So the first and foremost thing is for us to recognize that we need the data and we need to mine that data. At the end of the day, if you approach any sponsor and you say, I have a following of 10 million, and you cannot even demonstrate 1 million on social media, you cannot demonstrate 500,000 following on social media, how do you convince them that you have that number? So we need to go beyond the rhetorics and prove with data. I mean, what Mr. Teye said is fantastic. Everything these days is about data. You need to prove that you have the data. That data needs to be accessible to you. You need to tap into that data. If you are ordering replica jerseys, to price that replica jersey, you need to go into your data scientifically to understand the purchasing power of your fan base, who can afford, let's say the price is 200 cedis, and you have, say, 1 million recognizable supporters, and out of that 1 million, 955,000 or 990,000 cannot afford 200 cedis. And then you just order it in based on the knowledge that you have 1 million supporters, you're going to make a loss. So going into that data and understanding the dynamics of that data is very, very important. And I've been in for just a year, and I can assure you that at Kotoko we've done great. We're making great strides into gathering that data and making sure that we mine that data very well. It is something that I will encourage all the clubs to do. There are clubs that may not command physical numbers in terms of fan base, but on social media, you can command those numbers on social media, because you can have following who do not necessarily are your supporters, are not necessarily your supporters, but they are following who can see what you post, who can be marketed to, and therefore those clubs that do not have the physical numbers should pay more attention to the numbers on social media. And I believe it's always possible to do it, but you need to take data very seriously. It is very important.
Fascinating stuff. That interested. Very key things that are taken from all of those that you said. Data priceless. But let me take you to this one here. As a commentator for the Ghana Premier League with StarTimes, I remember when you brought in Fabio Gama, who has now emerged as the most attractive player in the Ghana Premier League. A lot of people criticized that signing. Many asked his quality, where he had played, what his pedigree was. But now that he's coming, he's come out from the reports as the most attractive player as far as the reports this year is concerned. Were there other considerations beyond footballing reasons for signing him? And how are you leveraging on the current popularity that he has to attract a lot more brand and increase revenue?
Yeah, definitely there were other considerations. When we came in, I said that our squad configuration was going to be what I call 4-8-8-4-2-4, 4-4-2, meaning that we're going to have 4 goalkeepers, 8 defenders, 8 midfielders, 4 strikers, 4 youth team players, and 4 strikers, 4 youth team players, and 2 marquee signings. So Fabio Gama came in as a marquee signing, and there were commercial considerations. We wanted to bring in players who could attract commercially. And I can tell you that the very moment we brought in Fabio Gama, it attracted one sponsor. One of the reasons why SICK agreed to join Kotoko, an international company like SICK, was also due to the fact that we had brought in an international player that
that's fascinating.
We could market, to push their brand. So definitely the commercialization of football or sport is something that cannot be underestimated. First and foremost, we must understand that football is business. It has moved from the recreational stage to the business stage. And for you to even enjoy the recreational aspect of football, the business side of football must work effectively. It must function. Otherwise, there will be no enjoyment. So you need to have those considerations at the back of your mind. And we also had to dig deep into Fabio Gama. Of course, it was a huge risk. This is a player with big history, played for Brazil under 17, Brazil under 20, couldn't make it to the very top as expected, was playing in Europe, in Sweden, had never come to Africa. You need to dig to find out whether he will adapt, his adaptation. And if you remember, when Fabio Gama came in, there was a lot of pressure on us to play him, because some said he was a carpenter, others said we had brought in a farmer, but we had to be patient to give him at least 1 month of preparation, despite the pressure, to ensure that he had trained properly, he had adjusted to the weather, and then he was ready before we unleashed him. And you realize that when we unleashed him, it paid off. It could have gone either way, but we weighed the risk factors, and we believe that we had about 75 to 80% chance of him performing. One of the things we had to do for Fabio Gama to succeed was to bring his family with him. He had to come with his wife and his child. That meant extra cost. That could have put us off. But we felt that for him to settle and also not to have distractions, disturbing him, it was important that we did that for him. And it paid off. So in terms of the commercialization, in every decision we make at Asante Kotoko, you cannot take it out. Every step is very well calculated. We don't always get it right, but because we are very meticulous and we are very, very considerate of these factors, most of the times we get it right.
Interesting stuff. Thank you very much, Mr. Nana Yaw Amponsah. We'll be getting back to you. The part where Fabio Gama and the family had to come, or the family had to come to Ghana, it's one that was fascinating for many. He could have actually had a Ghanaian baby, considering that his wife got pregnant in Ghana. So much I could have had half Brazilian, half Ghanaian as well. That is just by the way. But let me go to Lukas Dorda. Lukas, interesting stuff that Nana Yaw and Prince have touched on. But now let's get to you. You who's at the Johan Cruyff institute, a big institute worldwide known, an elite one as such in sports management, which is well known for the training center for sports management and sports business. For you, a developing football economy like Ghana's, and a developing league that we've got in a GPL, what role do you think that academia has to play in lifting the business face of the ecosystem, and for that matter, revenue opportunities?
Sure. First of all, thank you very much for having me, guys. And sorry for the beginning because I was having some issues with connection, but fortunately you can hear me. Everything is working, so I'm finally I could be happy because I was a little bit scratching my back, like, is this going to work? But good thing is that I'm finally here. So I would like to first also thank you for doing these kind of things and for presenting the research, because in my opinion, studies like this are always very useful and very, very helpful. So going back to your question, and obviously coming from the institute where I'm coming from, I think the educational or the learning process, it's always forming part of our everyday life, isn't it? It's like, I think life is a constant learning process. We are striving to be better. We are striving to learn. We are striving to obtain more education, more knowledge. I do believe that for every single, if we are mainly going to speak about football, for every single league around the world, knowing where we stand at and where we have the data to understand where we are currently standing at, that's one very important part. But then the other part, it's obviously looking what the others are doing, trying to search for some maybe inspiration, looking for different innovations, looking for different types of how the things are being done in other parts around the world. And that obviously means that education could be a very interesting part in that. Understanding how we could be better, how we could learn more, how we could take advantage of maybe has been done in the other parts, in other leagues, in our neighborhood countries, but also in the other part of the world, in leagues that are similar of size, similar of maybe stature or magnitude. It's something that could definitely help us. So the educational part forms a very, very big part in this case. And I do believe, and I'm a firm believer in learning process, in educating ourselves, and looking forward to obtain all the possible information, all the possible knowledge that we could get from different perspectives, from different angles, in order to be better, in order to make the whole product, in this case, the whole league, or in our proper clubs, where we are forming part of the clubs, better products to market, better brands, stronger brands. Therefore, this is very important. So I do believe that the educational part always will be having place in the industry, because if we want to aspire to be better, we need to educate ourselves, and we need to look what the others are doing in order to maybe get there, to either level up with them or maybe overtake them. I'm not sure if this was enough to reply on your question. This kind of awkward silence, I'm not sure if there is something you would like me to add, or...
Okay. I don't know if Sichu, probably the host may have gone off. But I think that, I mean, just to add to what Lukas was saying, I mean, it's actually great that we begin to get into that academic space to build the capacity of our people, because we as ASC, talking of the challenges that we have, it's one thing to be advocating for the use of data, and it's another question asking, do we have enough resources, human resources, or who have the right ability to be able to exploit the data? Because first of all, in terms of the knowledge production, in terms of the researchers, in terms of the data analysts and all these things, do we have enough of them, especially football or sports focused? Do we have enough of them here? If you are talking about some other elements of it, you're always asking yourself, you can go and tell a Ghana Premier League club oh, you need a data lake, you need a data this, you need a data this, but do they have the capacity? So it's always important that we continue to build capacity of all of ourselves as an industry. And so one of the key things that we are even looking at is possibly some form of educational introductions into the system that will build capacity of more people, and a lot of capacity building exercises are some of the things that we have planned to bring on board. So it's very important that we partner with academia, we embrace academia. We know that they have a role to play, and we get together to build a capacity of the Premier League clubs, of football business people. And then when you're asking them to make use of data, make use of technology, they will know what to do. Because at the beginning, I did mention that there seems to be a knowledge gap. Because you tell people to use the data, do they have the right qualifications? Do they have the right idea about what data can give to them? It's a question. And so, yeah, it's important that we embrace academia into this thing, and hopefully we'll be able to build people's capacity to be able to make the best use of data resources that we have.
Prince,
all right, great stuff. Let me get back to you guys on next topic. Okay, Nana Yaw, yeah, you can.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to what Prince was saying, and what I see is a problem in our parts of the world is that I always say we think very big without thinking small first. In terms of data collection, I remember what I used to do when I was at Fire Rangers. What we would do is that every match day, we had a few crowd, maybe 1,000 people, 500 people. Before every match day, we'll print sheets of paper, number it 1 to 100. Then before kickoff, during kickoff, during the game itself, people will go around with these sheets and say, write your name, your phone number, where you live. Do you support Fire Rangers? Would you like to support Fire Rangers? Would you like to buy a Fire Rangers shirt? This is basic data collection that you do not need to be a PhD holder, or you don't need any sophisticated machines to apply. So, for instance, the Premier League clubs without the large crowd can start these basic things to collect data. They can go through their communities to collect this data. And going forward, this data will be very useful. Otherwise, if we are waiting to always have the sophisticated machinery and brains to achieve this, we may never get there. Thank you.
All right, that is smart. So that is free advice to so many people who now want to know how to collect data. And for a lot of the clubs who do have the smaller fan base, that could be just a trick. Thank you, Nana. I'll take you. But let me get back to Lukas on this one. Football now is a global sport. Gone are the days where it was difficult to reach it or access it. But that is also having a huge impact now, because according to the 2021 report in the Ghana Premier League, 39% of the respondents indicated preference for watching the foreign leagues, whereas 34% preferred to watch the Ghana Premier League on a typical match day. Again, the English Premier League and the Champions League, as you know, La Liga, what have you, are all ranked above the Ghana Premier League when it comes to the most followed football competition in Ghana. Lucas, how do you see this trend shaping up in the future? And do you see any hope for smaller leagues like the Ghana Premier League as it stands?
Well, this is an interesting question. From my position, obviously, after reading the report, I'm not going to even try to pretend that I'm an expert on Ghanaian League, because that would be unfair, even though it gives me a very, very nice overview. But obviously, in this group, I would say I'm the outsider one, because the majority of you have very good knowledge of the Ghanaian Football League. In my case, obviously, I was just getting familiar with it. In my opinion, and this is coming from the previous project I was working on, or from different projects with working with smaller leagues all around Europe, in my opinion, it's impossible to compete or try to compete with the big leagues, either Premier League, either Spanish La Liga, Italian League, and even those would be the 3 leagues, or even Bundesliga, that I would put into this bracket, that are the top leagues. So if you are not in that bracket, then you cannot compete with those leagues, because obviously they have huge talent on board in terms of different football players. The tradition of these leagues is definitely higher than most of any other leagues. So I would say it's difficult to compete. What I would like to go through, and I would like to explain a little bit, is something that was already mentioned before. And obviously, as we are trying to present the full research, which is based on data, and we've been speaking about the data before, I do believe that it's very important in order to compete with this league. As if I am the Ghanaian league, if I am any other small league around the world, what I would like to try to do is to obtain the data about the fans that are following the league, try to get the know to my own fans, and not trying to sell them the proper league as something better than the other leagues they could watch on a weekly basis. But I would like to try to offer them a local possibility to enjoy, if they are football fans, enjoy a good product, good football on a local basis without trying to compete. So obviously the future is that these few big leagues will be growing even bigger. They will be having more economical resources. They will be having still the best players on board. So for any smaller leagues, and even though I don't like to say a smaller league, because for me every single league is important. Doesn't matter if it is having millions of followers or if it is having only few followers. The most important thing is to start show, especially the younger generations, that we are here, that to get them to the point that they will be a part of having their favorite players, having their favorite teams in the best leagues in the world, be it Manchester United, Liverpool, Barca, Real Madrid, all the top clubs in the world. Show them that in their local city might be a local club that is trying to do a good football, that is trying to show them and to bring them to the stadium on a weekly basis, or bi-weekly basis. Try to bring them closer to the action instead of just showing them the best what's in the world. Try to show them that we are here in the local community through different small events, going to the school or to the different schools, show the local youth population that we are here. To know them a little bit better, obviously, we need to obtain the data. We need to basically get our hands dirty. So go to the field, start to work with them through different local communities. On and later, we could scale it a little bit. We could go on a nation base and try to show the whole population that we are here. We want to do a good football, and obviously the data will be always accompany us, because as we will be progressing, we need to get more and more information to know more and more about our segments. Because I was mentioning one, which would be the kids, which would be the youth, but obviously there are all the adults, all the adult population. Why only focus on one segment? We need to work and we need to focus on different segments and try to search for something that could be attractive for them, be it through different content creation, be it through different actions we could do in the local communities where they could be involved. The most important thing is it's to show the whole local population that even though you are a Manchester United fan and for you it's the most important thing, or to follow this club, in your city there is a local club, and we are the local club, and we are here for you as well. So we understand that if there is the Liverpool United game, you want to watch it. And that's also very important for the smaller leagues. Try to create a product that might will not coincide with the same dates as maybe the big games that the people want to watch, because then we are competing with them. And it's not fair for the fan to put them in a position, choose either the local league or the big game in the league that you are following. So again, I will go back and I will circle back to the data. The more as we know about our fans, and it's very interesting to know, for example, that which club do they support outside of, in this case, Ghana. Because if we know it, we could start to think, okay, about the schedules, about those are the simple things, but not put the game of the local team or the local league at the same time as maybe the teams from Premier League that are the most followed in the country.
Fascinating stuff. Thank you very much, Lukas. There are a lot to take away from that point. And that takes me back to Prince. Prince, I hope you are there. And if you just joined in, welcome. This is the Ghana Premier League webinar, Ghana Premier League Reports webinar from the African Sports Center in collaboration with the Johan Cruyff Institute. On my panel, I've got Prince Narkortu Teye, and I've got Mr. Lukas Dorda, and I've got Mr. Nana Yaw Amponsah, CEO of Kumasi, Asante Kotoko Sports Club. Prince, now that takes me to this one, because when Lukas was speaking, all I gather is that if we've got data, then we can know where to look at, we can know who to talk to, we can know how to rope in the fan base. I want to ask you, who produces this data? Your company does. How do you engage with stakeholders to ensure that the report achieves its ultimate objectives? I mean, of impacting Ghana sporting landscape. What are the level of impacts that you also do expect to be made with this report, Prince?
Okay, first and foremost, I think Lucas made a very solid point about how we position the Ghana Premier League or the smaller leagues, that they do not come off as trying to compete with these bigger leagues, because you definitely cannot compete, but it's about making the Ghana Premier League a very good alternative to them. And I think that that's a very solid point that Lucas made. And I totally agree with that. If we can know how to position the Ghana Premier League, probably we could get a lot more people, a lot more eyeballs on the league than trying to say that, okay, the European leagues are taking our people, they are taking our eyeballs, so we even want to ban them or want to do this, which is really, really practically impossible. About how we engage with stakeholders, I think that this is key, because if we are a knowledge production center, basically, all the ultimate aim of the research of the data is that it affects decisions. So it means that ultimately the decision makers are going to be the biggest end users you are looking at when you are producing the knowledge. And it's important that right from every step of the knowledge production, you engage them, because that is the only point that when you bring the research to them, they will take it, because you cannot just come from nowhere. And I would probably go to the GFA or the sports ministry, or go to the clubs and tell them, oh, this is a research you've done. It says so and so, A, B, or C. So change this and this in your club. So I mean, they would not accept it. So the stakeholder engagement is very, very key. When we came on as a company, the first thing we did was to have a working visit to the major stakeholders as much as we can. So we visited the GFA, we paid working visit to the GFA, the sports ministry, the Ghana Olympic Committee, even including some clubs, including Hearts of Oak. At the time, we couldn't reach out to Nana Yaw. He wasn't even at Kotoko at the time, I don't think so. So we couldn't get to Kotoko, but I visited some of these people to announce ourselves, so that right from the beginning, they know that there is an agenda, a new agenda in the system, and they feel part of it. And then through the knowledge production process, even before we got into data collection, one of the things we did was to engage the key stakeholders again to take their inputs about feedback, really, about the previous editions of the Ghana Premier League report that we had done. What do they make of it? How do they think things could be done differently? So that in all these things, we are able to come up with something that is really applicable to their needs. And which also I mentioned earlier on that one of the problems or the challenges we have is the theory and the practice gap of what the researchers think the applied users need and what the applied users actually think they actually need. It's a big problem. So we have tried to engage them to really understand what they need. And even as we have the report now, we have sent it to the clubs as much as we can, the GFA ministry and all those, we've sent it to them. And also we are looking to engage them even further beyond the report, because it's also one thing to just give them the report and expect them to make good meanings and good, but we are hoping that we can actually still continue to engage with these guys so that we will help them to draw the meanings, help guide them, because obviously we know more about the data than they do. And so that level of engagement, so once they feel part of the journey and they really understand the data, then they really know how to make use of it. Even the media are another key part. And this year, for instance, we've had the media from the beginning, even with our flow of content and everything, we've had the media on our side, which was something we're not doing so much previously, because we just do the report and we just dump into the media space. But this year, from the beginning, in terms of our promo, our marketing, we have involved the media. So they are aware of what is going on. So it makes the acceptance of the research and the report even easier for them. And even in the people out there, the general public. Then again, on our promotions and our marketing, we have tried to make sure that they know what is happening. So they feel some way, somehow, they feel part of the process. It creates that anticipation. So when it comes, acceptance, it's good with some of these things. So I think that in terms of the stakeholder engagement, that is really what we have been doing. We could even do better, we could do more. And hopefully as years come, we'll be doing more. Even this event that we are hosting is the first of its kind. And it's a way of even engaging the stakeholders, having all the stakeholders in one place, having the fans out there, having the decision makers like Nana Yaw here, having the academicians like Lucas, and we, the ASC here, really discuss even further into the findings of the reports.
All right, fascinating stuff. And as you mentioned, Nana Yaw is here, you are here, Lucas is here. When I check out our viewers, listeners who are part of the whole or in the conversation. But we go back to the reports again that you produced. For me, really, that's to subscribe to pay TV for the Ghana Premier League by 4%.
I'm not sure if I got your question.
But live streaming preference and full watch And what opportunities arise in this, particularly for internet service?
Okay, your line was a bit choppy, so I'm not sure I really got you well. But if I heard you well, you were talking about the findings that less people are willing to pay for pay TV, which is really surprising, really, because I mean, if you look at the top ways of which the football space are making money now, a lot of them is coming from the match day sales, then also the commercial activities involving the sponsorships. Then we're also talking about the broadcast rights. Broadcast rights has become like a holy grail, especially for the bigger leagues. And even in the smaller leagues like the Ghana Premier League, that is really like their biggest source of income, really, as far as I understand. So, and if you have that situation where people are not willing to subscribe to pay TV, or I mean they are not willing, because obviously majority are still willing, but there is a decline. It's a very sensitive signal to pick up so early on. And I think that if I were part of the GFA, this is not something I'll take, like, especially for a product that currently doesn't have a headline sponsor, and our biggest money is coming from a pay TV provider. And now there is that thing. I'll really be interested in seeing that, okay, is this a one-off or the trend will continue? Because if the trend continues, then it means that we're even going to lose our biggest people, because StarTimes will be sitting there and they'll be asking ourselves if people do not want to pay for pay TV, which is not really because necessarily of bad production, but I think it's basically a function of the economic situations of Ghana, then that's a problem. And why am I saying this could be a situation of the economic situation? Because even more fascinating, we found out that people were less willing to use the social media to follow football news, and it was really contrasting to what we thought was going on, because around the world, social media is becoming the key. People want to move online. So somehow, strangely, we have a situation or an ecosystem where the acceptance or willingness to use social media was dropping, obviously or likely because of internet issues, which also comes down to the economic situation. So it's a problem. It's a problem for me, and I'm just hoping that this is a one-off. In subsequent reports that we do or researches that we do, it should come up as a one-off and not become a trend, because then it means that the biggest source of income or of revenue for the Ghana Premier League is even possibly under threat, and we cannot afford to have such a situation. Okay, so I think Philip may have gone off a little bit. So I would still really want to touch on that particular one I was saying, was Philip comes in. I mean, if I check the last sponsorship money that was out there, I think, last year the GFA announced a new partnership with StarTimes. That was like a lot of money that they were willing to pump into the GFA, into the Ghana Premier League for the next 5 years. And obviously, after the 5 years, I'm sure that the GFA are going to be there and they're going to say, we need more money. StarTimes obviously are going to look at, okay, how many new subscriptions have we had over the period? Our subscriber base, is it rising? And that is really the data that the GFA can also counter on to say, we need more money. Because if you're a GFA and you are giving StarTimes a product, and that product is not leading them to achieve some business goals, obviously, of selling more products and getting more subscriptions, then that becomes a problem. So I think that, with that particular situation, it's really worrying. Just a minute. Mute somebody.
Please, if you don't have the floor, as I said by our rule book, please do mute your mic. If you want to have the floor, the opportunity will come for the open floor. So please, our cherished listeners and viewers, please do well to mute your mic if you don't have the floor.
Not them.
Okay, Philip, just go ahead.
I think the mic is muted. Sorry, Prince. Sorry. Please go on.
Yeah, so I was just wrapping up about that worrying situation of less people willing to pay for online to subscribe to pay TV, especially considering that the biggest investor into our league now is a pay TV hub, obviously like StarTimes, and I was just exploring that a little bit more.
All right, thank you very much, Prince. I apologize. Internet chose the West Day to act up. But please, per our rule book, as you said, if you don't have the floor, please turn off your mic. And when the opening floor is up, raise up your hand. I'll be glad to call you into it. Now, let me now go into Nana Yaw now. And then, Prince, you mentioned fascinating points you made. Data, which can be used to present from the FA to sponsors or right holders to demand more money or somewhat, which is very important. But the revelation here, which is also staggering, Nana Yaw, is that according to the reports, fans prefer viewing matches at the stadium. That is 61%, an increase from 2020. That is the 58%. How are the Ghana Premier League clubs, as a matter of fact, for a club like Kotoko, personally taking up the challenge to improve the match day experience for the fans to ensure that this preference becomes a reality and raises revenue in the Yaw?
Thank you very much. Every match day is an event in itself. Every match day is an event in itself. It's not just about the 90 minutes. There are about 2 hours before the game and more hours after the game. So it is important for clubs to understand that you need to let the fans enjoy coming to the games. You need to let them enjoy not just the football, because the football result could go either way. It could happen that you win, it could happen that you lose, it could happen that you draw. But at the end of the day, one should have enjoyed the whole spectacle of being there. So first of all, we make sure that, we are unlucky, my administration, that the very first year, we didn't get to play in our home venue. We had to play away from home for an entire season, so we could not control the match day experience very well. But this season, what we are doing first and foremost is to ensure that our sponsors take advantage of the match day experience to activate their products and services. The fans get to interact with the sponsors. They get to have that feel as well. And also, we've already started giving prizes, introducing draws, live draws during the games, so that the fans can win prizes from the sponsors as well. Going forward, we're going to introduce what we call the Legends time, where pre-match, we bring in legends of Kotoko. We'll have video footage of, let's say, 1983 Champions League final. You have somebody who was there live playing to take you through the experience, how it felt like and all that. So there are several things that we're going to do to ensure that the match day experience is something that will make somebody want to come back. However, to go back, to divert a bit, as I keep saying, we cannot have all our fans in the stadium. Baba Yara can only take 40,000 full capacity. And if we say we have, in Kumasi, let's say we have 2 million fans, all of them cannot enter Baba Yara. So we need to make sure that they still enjoy Asante Kotoko on match days. And that will be through pay TV. So going back to what Prince was saying, I feel that there need to be a proper collaboration between the clubs and the right holders, say StarTimes. Because for me as Asante Kotoko, if all StarTimes gives me is $30,000 for the year, whether 100,000, 1 million, 2 million Kotoko fans watch on a day or not, that's all I get. I'm not going to go out of my way to push fans who are not coming to the stadium to go and watch StarTimes. I don't see how that benefits me. However, if there is a mechanism to share proceeds where I know that if every match day I'm getting 200,000 people or 500,000 people to watch StarTimes, and that is going to translate into revenue for the club, then I'll take it upon myself to educate my fans, to push my fans to go and watch, so that StarTimes gets revenue and I get revenue. So StarTimes and the FA need to have a real look at the model. For instance, we are doing a virtual seat challenge. We understand that we are only allowed 25% into the stadium. We've looked at it, the 75% is going waste. Okay, just take a seat and donate something. And it's fetching us some revenue. So the right holders need to engage the clubs, especially House and Protocol, with the numbers and ensure that there is some kind of arrangement that makes us want to push our fans to watch, subscribe to their channels. Otherwise, you're not going to make the return on investment that they require. Because I don't see why TV money should be shared. It's a controversial topic, but the TV rights money cannot be shared the same across board. You cannot go to
something
England.
Which we'll get into. Interesting. Something, but again, Nana, as you made the point, like you said, you've got the fan base that you can direct to watch. I mean, a lot of the games on StarTimes, especially if it translates into revenue for the club. But what you've realized is that, per the reports again, the Ghana Premier League stood at 78%. The awareness stood at 78%, while followership was at 59%. In 2021, both figures have declined to 76% and 41%, respectively, despite various efforts to promote the league. I mean, there's been a debate, obviously, about whose responsibility it is to lead the promotion of the Ghana Premier League. From what you said, Mr. Nana Yaw Amponsah, who do you think needs to lead that charge? Is it a GFA? Is it the clubs, you guys? Or is it from the media? Or what can we do differently to raise the numbers?
It's a collective responsibility. However, there needs to be a clear leadership in terms of that responsibility. And I think that leadership needs to come from the FA. In other places, the league is not managed by the FA. In other jurisdictions, there are independent bodies running the league. But here is the case, we have a system where the FA, apart from having to take care of all the national teams, the qualifiers, at the same time, run the league. And so if you look at just before the Premier League kicked off, a lot of concentration of the FA, I believe, was on World Cup qualification. and therefore, it's definitely going to affect the league. So if you look at this particular league, I didn't see the promotion at all. There was a time that even we as participants were wondering if the league was going to come off. A lot of us were thinking they're going to postpone it because we're not seeing anything until there was a launch one Thursday, and then the following day, the league was starting. We didn't see the promotions. We didn't see much. So once the FA leads that call, then definitely the rest will also collectively, put their shoulders to the plow. At the end of the day, we as clubs can only promote our clubs and the games as and when they come. But the responsibility to promote the league as a brand lies solely at the doorstep of the FA who run the league.
Fascinating. Thank you very much, Nana Yaw Amponsah. We'll be coming to you for your final thoughts experience as well. Thank you. But let me get to Lukas on this one. Lukas, we are making efforts, to leverage on various opportunities to increase revenue, particularly sponsorship. But there has been concerns with value returns for sponsors for all investments they make in football. How do you think clubs can maximize return on investment for investors? And can you specifically highlight, or especially highlight on the role of activation in this?
The golden question, isn't it? The question of £1 million or dollars or euros. I'm not sure if there is a simple answer to this. First of all, we have to understand what exactly sponsorship means for all the different stakeholders involved. If I'm a football club, what sponsorship is for me? It's another product I could monetize on. If I'm a brand, what sponsorship does mean for me? It's definitely a platform to reach either a wider audience, to either boost my sales, to basically fulfill or follow my objectives. Understanding this, that's the reason why there are always different stakeholders involved and why they want to do something together. I think, again, and I don't want to repeat what I was saying before, and we've been already mentioning the importance of data, and I don't want to be topic about it and just going again to that fact. But if I'm a football club, and I'm looking for different sponsorship deals and for new partnerships, how I can help the possible brands to get better return on investment, it's definitely through giving them the most possible information I could. How am I going to achieve it? Through having the information and the data about my fans and my followers. Because if I'm going to approach different brands that might be interested in entering, sponsoring a football club, what they will be interested is to know how many fans do you have, what you can do with them. And this is basically the platform where the activation is coming in. And that's also very important because obviously the activation is often the key. And we have to understand that if I'm a brand and I'm going to purchase some sort of sponsorship package from a football club, that's not the end investment I have to make. That's the initial one. Then there is all the activation fee I should be spending on. The desired ratio would be for every single euro or $1 or £1 I'm going to spend on the sponsorship, I should be investing additional €1 per activation. And this is often the problem that we could see all around the world. I'm not only speaking about one particular country. Many brands are thinking with buying the sponsorship package with the small benefits I will be getting, that's it. But they are not trying to invest more into the activation, which is often the problem. In order to go to activate properly, and this should be something where if I'm a brand, I should look for a long-term partnership with that particular entity in order to develop some sort of trust and be in this together. I very much liked what the gentleman said before, because it's very important that all different stakeholders that will be involved in, if you're speaking about partnership deal, it will be built on some sort of a trust where they can collaborate together, because it doesn't work the other way or the one way or the other way. It's very important that all of the involved parties are going to collaborate on this and are trying to get, on one hand, help each other, on the other hand, collaborate and work together in order to get the best outcome for all involved parties. I know this seems like a wonderful world. Unfortunately, it's still not happening in every single cases within the world of sports sponsorship, and especially in football. But this is the way, and it's definitely through helping the possible partners, offering them more information about our fan base and about our fans.
Thank you, Lucas. Let me move to the next question for you, which will be your final question for this part, second part. Please note, for all of you who are watching and listening, we've got the open floor coming your way right after Lucas is done. So if you've got questions or also comments on what we've discussed today, please do know that your time is just about coming. Remember, just go to the raise your hand session. Use that option in Zoom. I'll be glad to call on you. If you can't do that as well, just turn on your video, wave at me, and I'll be glad to call you to give you the floor. You have 2 minutes to ask your question or to make a comment. Now to Lucas, to your final question then. So for the 10th straight year, what the reports realized, or what the reports reviewed, I should say, is that there's been an increase in percentage of respondents who indicated that they bet or have ever bet on a Ghana Premier League match. But there are also concerns about how betting can ruin a beautiful game. I mean, what role does betting have to play in the future of sports? And what sort of relationships with football properties have with the betting companies, Lucas?
This is, again, another tricky question. You are definitely not making it easy for me today.
I'm sorry. My apologies. I'm sorry. But fascinating.
No worries. I was just kidding. Let's go a little bit through the history if we are going to look at the betting, because historically speaking, I am speaking prior to the possibility to bet online. How was the process of betting on football games or on sports in general? You were basically supposed to go physically to one place. Often the bookies, if you are looking at that Premier League, were directly at the stadium or in near to the stadium. But the thing was that basically, as they were seeing who you are, you were definitely not younger than 18 years old. That was historically speaking. Nowadays, with different online platforms, it's very simple for everyone to actually bet, and this might be the problem. This is one of the reasons why many big leagues, be it Premier League, be it the big leagues all around the world, are starting to play or toy with the idea of forbid sponsorship with betting companies. On the other hand, obviously, we have the different football clubs and sports entities that are having very lucrative partnership deals with the betting companies. So this is the conflict of interest where on one hand, clubs definitely don't want to lose this kind of revenue. On the other hand, the authorities are looking on a way how to prevent, especially youth people, from betting. In my opinion, and I'm going to look on this more from the point of view of overall fun engagement. It's very important to understand that games in general are forming part of different fun engagement strategies of different sports entities and mainly football clubs. So avoid completely betting could be very, very complicated. I think some regulations should be put in place. And obviously, more and more clubs and more leagues, especially, are looking for ways how to substitute. I'm not saying the revenues, because the revenues from partnership deals with betting companies are very difficult to substitute. However, they are looking on a way how to engage with the fans through games that are not exactly based on betting. So games like Fantasy Premier League, I'm not sure if some of you are familiar with it, but as you can see, there are more than 10 million people registered for games like this. Obviously, there is the paid version where you could play for some sort of money, but the majority of the people are playing the free version, where basically you are not winning anything. It's only about the bragging rights of beating your friends, of your mini league. So in my opinion, it's very important to regulate betting in the future in order to avoid possible addictions. I know it's very easy to say, and I don't want to look like I'm the smartest man in the room, because I'm definitely not. I'm just saying what could be done, but obviously I think it's very, very difficult to completely forget about the betting companies and try to force the clubs to end the contracts, because we are speaking about a huge amount of revenue. So in my opinion, the biggest problem should be if youth people are betting on football. That's something that should be avoidable. But on the other hand, we cannot accept the fact that many football clubs could lose huge amounts of money, because if you look at Premier League, just as a best example, there are, I think, 12 out of the 20 clubs that are having a betting partner on the front of the jersey as the main sponsor. So until this won't be changed, it's very, very difficult to start with completely breaking the ties between betting companies and football. How sad it seems to be, because we might be romantics, we might be the followers and the lovers of the game. However, like it was said at the beginning, football is a business. We have to look at football from the business point of view. And for many sports entities, this is a very important revenue that they cannot avoid to not have.
Fascinating insight. This is where, if this was a seminar, I'd like for the audience just to give a round of applause to our three experts panel, Mr. Prince Narkortu Teye, Mr. Lukas Dorda, Mr. Nana Yaw Amponsah. Ring applause in your ears, as I'm sure that all our viewers on this webinar are excited with the thoughts that are coming through. Thank you very much. All right, straight away, we're going to move to the open floor. I'm going to be helped by the production team behind the doors. So if you raise your hand, you're going to be let in and you're going to share your opinion. I think we've got Nana Karikari, who is joining the open floor. Please, you've got 2 minutes for a question or a comment.
Okay, I would like to commend Nana Yaw for his initiative. He joined the club not too long, but he's really made a good impact with regards to branding. Branding has been so attractive, and then initiating the draws during the live games. It makes the fans feel loved, because the fans play a vital role to push. The fans play a vital role to push the club up. So he's doing a great job. But one thing I want to ask Nana Yaw here is that we have a lot of platforms like WhatsApp Kotoko platforms. What is he going to do to have a common platform that brings everybody, integrates all the platforms to be on in a common group? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. You're welcome. Thank you very much, Linda, for that thought. That question will go to Nana Yaw, but we would write that question down. The production team will send it over to us. We'll ask Nana Yaw when the time is due, but we'll go on with the open floor just to get more comments and more thoughts. So that question was to what Nana Yaw was doing to bring the WhatsApp groups and all those other social media groups for Kotoko under one umbrella from lender. Next, please.
Yeah, good day.
Good day, Abdul Rahman. Nice to have you. Thank you for your time. You have 2 minutes.
Thanks for having us here too. Well, I wanted to make a comment, and it has to do with what Nana Yaw said. He was talking about TV revenue from maybe, let's say, StarTimes. I was wondering maybe if maybe StarTimes could make data available during matches whereby clubs whose fans are not able to go into the stadium will be able to join StarTimes, maybe pay an amount of money during the match to watch it live. Then after that, the clubs will also have an opportunity to get the revenue back if that is possible. That would have been good to help the clubs. That's my suggestion. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for your suggestion there. Nana Yaw, suggestion for you. Also, we'll come to you for your remark on that one. Next, please. The production team, please help me get the next person who wants to get onto the open floor for comments or for remarks or for questions for our expert panel today. Anyone in the audience who wants to say something is very much welcome. Hello. All right, I've got EL Junior. EL Junior, you have the floor. 2 minutes, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Philip. Please, my question is Mr. Nana Yaw. Hello.
Please, you have the floor. Go on. He's hearing you, please.
Okay. I want to ask him a question. When you go to the foreign leagues, there is a seminar or a match day press conference for the players, and I want to ask if, like, we can, as our league here, before a match or maybe at the end of the season, we can do an open forum for the players and the fans so that we can get a signed JC and a signed books, and maybe we can get closer to the players. Maybe we can know them more, and maybe get autographs from them and pictures and stuff. So I want to know if he can organize such a thing for us, because some of the fans, we are really obsessed with the players, but we can't get closer to them because we don't know them much. So if he will organize something for us, maybe at the end of the season, we can all maybe meet here, get autograph from the players and the staffs. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Your point is very well made, EL Junior. I think, Nana Yaw, that's a question that would come to him. So I'm noting those questions down. When it's time, I'll pose it to him. Next, please.
Yeah, hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for coming. Prince Odro, you've got the floor.
Yes, Sitcho. Yes, Sitcho, I would direct my question to you, and I'll give one to Nana Yaw as well. Yes, because I'm directing
question to me.
Yes, you are the host.
Okay.
I'm directing one to you. Yes,
okay.
StarTimes, because you are with Star, you are associated with StarTimes. That's why I'm asking this question. Yes, I believe when you look at the other leagues, yes, the German Bundesliga, the English Premiership, there are a lot of other activities around match day. So we have the weekly magazines, we have other stuff that bring people together. But with this year's coverage, it has a little bit up. You have to up your game a little bit. But we are not seeing that some of those exciting moments that will make the league more attractive. I was on your StarTimes app, and I can't even find matches of the 3 matches played. Only those that has been played and were aired is what you will find there. I would implore you that StarTimes, if you could add those things, those features to your production, it will make the league, because just as you say, we want to bring back the love. Let us make the hype around the league for us. Let us make the hype around it for us. So I hope maybe you and your production team can think about it, have weekly magazine shows for us. Let us, just as my other colleague said, let us have pre-match conferences before and after, so that the players and other stars will come. Yes, my question to Nana Yaw is,
I'm sorry, but your time, you've elapsed your time. But
okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, I've noted that question down. Well, I'm not supposed to be on the panel. I'm not talking, but I can guarantee you that I'm going to forward all your concerns to the appropriate quarters. I'm a commentator for the Ghana Premier League StarTimes, but the management are going to hear this. Thank you very much for that thought and that contribution.
Thank you,
the next, please.
Thank you, Sitcho.
Okay, so that is what we've got for the open floor. Because a lot of the questions were directed at Nana Yaw, I'll jump straight to you, Nana Yaw, and then I'll ask those questions of you. But the rest of the panel will get a minute and a half for their final takes or their final comments. So, Nana Yaw, the first concern from, I believe, a Kotoko fan was about what you were doing to bring the Kotoko fans together from various groups, various WhatsApp groups, Facebook, Twitter. Because to be honest, I've seen a lot of different Facebook groups of Kotoko fans on WhatsApp, on Twitter as well. What you were doing to bring all of that under one umbrella. I think your mic is off, please. If you could unmute it. Thank you very much.
Forgive me, I had muted my mic. So what I would say about the WhatsApp group is that I believe every WhatsApp group has a certain number of participants that they can take. And you know, with Kotoko, we have huge numbers. So I will not discourage different groups springing up. But what we are doing is to create that centralized database. That is a fabulous census platform where every Kotoko fan will be on it, where you can access stuff from the club. You can do your monthly contributions, if any, and also patronize embedded products of the sponsors on there. But in terms of bringing all WhatsApp groups together, I don't think it's feasible. We encourage them to have even more groups. However, when that centralized database is created, we want everybody to appear on there. That is where you have your membership cards. I can say here and now that the membership cards are also going to be Visa cards. So you can use to do your normal trading, daily trading. And the more you do that, any charges that goes to Visa, Kotoko gets a percentage. So we are trying different means to raise revenue for the club, and we cannot do that without the fans.
All right, the second one.
The second one has to do with the pay-per-view and as we have been discussing, the revenue.
Yes.
I believe that TV revenue should not be shared equally. I believe that it should not be shared equally because some clubs contribute more to the viewership of the rights holder. And therefore, it's important that we agree to share it in a certain coefficient way, such that if I believe that I can contribute 50,000 or 100,000 Kotoko fans on a match day to view StarTimes, I'll put in the effort to ensure that they are going on there because I know that there's a direct benefit that comes to Kotoko per each game. Listen, we even at Kotoko have our own online partner that we could have broadcasted our games through, but we are not allowed to do that because StarTimes are the right holders. During the Champions League, which StarTimes has no rights on, there was one particular game that we were able to broadcast and get per one game. We got almost what, I don't want to declare the figure, but almost what StarTimes gives us for a year. So you can imagine.
Handsome.
You understand? Something that we could get. Because imagine that we are broadcasting our games live on Seek, who is our partner. And we are charging $2, for instance, like StarTimes does per game. And we have 50,000 Kotoko fans watching that particular game live. That translates into $100,000 per game. So if we are getting about $30,000 for the entire season, where 34 of our matches will be shown live, then we are not getting value for money. There are other clubs that obviously you capture their matches, show live, and you will not get 5,000 views. You will not get, that. So I think that the ratio for sharing the TV money needs to be looked into so that the clubs that it will become a competition for the clubs themselves to push fans to watch their games. They will promote it for fans to watch their games because if fans are not watching, it means you are getting less money. So if I am Nana Yaw FC and I know that somebody's going to watch Sitsofe FC, 10,000 people are going to watch, I have to promote it for the same number of people or more to watch Nana Yaw FC play so that I get a revenue. Until we do that, StarTimes will not get the needed support from the clubs. And everything is going to be on them.
All right. Okay, so then very well said there. And then the last one from one of your fans, I believe, was about the press conferences and the availability or the avenue to meet the players and their stars. They won't have the autographs. They won't have to take pictures with them. What do you say to that?
I support that wholeheartedly, except that when we came in, we had plans like that. But you know, COVID, we are not in normal times. When we
Absolutely.
came in, we had to create a bubble to keep the players in, and direct interaction with people whose status you didn't know was quite difficult. But going forward, as COVID eases up, you know, we've started doing some activation recently. We did activation at two of our sponsors' premises, Lifestyle Assurance. We also did at Royal filling stations, fuel stations, where our players were, you know, selling fuel. Just before our first home game, we had star players at fuel stations selling fuel, had interactions with the fans. So it's something we have started doing, and we continue to do so.
Your friend Marigold. Oh yeah. Yeah, friend Marigold handsome. Yeah, very pretty lady. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, all the churches.
Sichu, I think you're on mute.
I'm sorry. I was actually telling somebody to mute while I was muting my mic. Sorry, everybody. Okay, thank you, Prince. Thank you, Prince. Thank you so much to Prince, Nana Yaw, and then Lukas. We'll be wrapping it all up in a jiffy. There's just a few more things to look at, or just a little things to look at before we go here. And so for Prince and for Lukas, you've got 2 minutes for your final comments on everything that has happened on this forum, reacting to some of those questions that the fans have asked, or reacting to some of the comments that your other panel members have also brought up. So I'll start off with you, Prince.
I think that this has been a very good discussion. Also, particularly seeing the passion of the Asante Kotoko fans. It's not something we do not know, but obviously with every single platform that comes out, Asante Kotoko fans would always show themselves and always put out that passion. If I'm Nana Yaw, I would really be smiling because it means that the interest is there. That's money really sitting down there for me. So it's good, but obviously beyond this conversation, we are hoping that we can even have more conversations like this, speak to issues, because often our conversations are almost centered around the action going on at the pitch, and we don't have the avenue to discuss a lot more things like this. So this has been a very, very good way to engage, also to learn, because I actually quite learned a bit from everyone that has spoken, from Lukas, from Nana Yaw, even from the fans who have spoken, and I'm looking forward to even greater platforms to have this even more.
Thank you very much, Prince. Thanks for those final comments. And to you now, Lukas, the online learning manager of the Johan Cruyff Institute. Lukas, the final comments. It could be a reaction to something that has been said, or something in trying to summarize everything we've done here today, Lukas.
I think to summarize everything, it's kind of difficult because we've been touching upon many different points of view and many different points. But for me, the most important thing is, and this was really eye-opening, was to see the passion of the fans. Like Prince said, it's like, you know, it's like to see when one of those fans that were asking the question, when he mentioned like he is like the fans are super crazy about the players, about the fans. Like, I fully agree with Prince. That's a very good thing for that particular club, for Kotoko, because it only shows that there is a lot of potential. And I do believe that the fans of other clubs in the Ghana Football League are very likewise. So for me, it's great to see that because, like I said at the beginning, I didn't like to call like a smaller leagues or bigger leagues. I don't like to call it like this. For me, every single league is important. And it's really great to see so passionate fans all around the world, because we love this game, we love football, and to have the possibility to understand a little bit more about the fans. So that's basically a small round of applause for Prince for doing this kind of research, because I think it's very unique, it's great, and it could be a great platform for the full league, for the clubs, to build up on it, work with it, and for the future, obviously, make their fans happy. Because the overall engagement and the fun engagement, it's getting more and more important. And for more and more clubs all around the globe to satisfy the needs and the wishes of their fans, it should be the key. in order to be successful. So thank you very much for having me, guys. For me, it was definitely eye-opening. It's been a pleasure to participate on this session. And look, and I would happily participate in more sessions in the future. So thank you very much.
We will definitely have you again. Thank you very much for your insights as well. They were really eye-openers to all of that. So a very big thank you to Mr. Prince Narkortu Teye. He's the founder, the CEO and the founder of African Sports Center. A big thank you to the Asante Kotoko Sporting Club CEO, Mr. Nana Yaw Amponsah, and to the online learning manager of the Johan Cruyff Institute, Lukas Dorda. Talking about the Johan Cruyff Institute, it is renowned, really is one of the elites when it comes to sports management institutions in sports coaching and what have you. One of them, they've got big and great alumni. Edwin van der Sar, many would remember him, former Manchester United goalkeeper, doing great things now with Ajax Amsterdam. They are coming from the Johan Cruyff Institute. And so we couldn't have partnered them for this webinar and not really have them to tell us a lot more about them, because I believe that for you, the viewers or the listeners, it's because of the desire for the sport and the various aspects of it that you've joined the seminar today, the webinar today, I should say. So we're going to call on Ms. Ozana Maginian to tell us a bit more about, in the next few minutes, tell us a bit more about the Johan Cruyff Institute. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would have Ms. Ozana Maginian to tell us somewhat more about Johan Cruyff Institute.
Hello. Thank you for having me. First of all, I'm Ozana. I'm an academic advisor at Johan Cruyff Institute. I'm a colleague of Lukas here. We work a lot together, and yeah, I'm happy to be here. I will keep it brief today. I will just talk a bit about what we do at the Johan Cruyff Institute. And of course, any of you can contact me at any time if you have any questions about our program. So I'm going to share the screen. Let's see if...
Yeah, so the screen, I believe, is going to come up pretty shortly, but please do pay attention. Those of you interested in management, sports coaching, and various aspects of it, this is the right place to be. And remember that this one was brought to you. It's in partnership with from African Sports Center, in partnership or collaboration with the Johan Cruyff Institute. So please, let's listen to what is on the offer. I'm personally interested in what is on the offer from the JCI. Okay, there you have it. Over to you.
Can everyone see? Okay.
Well, I can see, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So let me see if I can make it big here. Johan Cruyff Institute, we are a business school, 100% focused on sports, located in Barcelona. Our mission is to educate the next generation of leaders in sport management. As you can see the quote here. We are one of the 5 initiatives of Johan Cruyff. You can see them all here. Cruyff Institute, Cruyff Football, Cruyff Foundation, Cruyff Library, and Cruyff Classics. Each one of them has very different missions, and we are dealing with education and specifically the academic legacy of Johan Cruyff. So we were founded from his vision. He believed that athletes need to educate themselves while they pursue their professional career. And also he had a vision to professionalize the sports industry, and that anyone who works in the sports industry should have this type of education. Some of our values, you can read them here: motivation, intuition, curiosity, pragmatism, social engagement, and optimism. These are our core values that we base our education on. Some important facts: we have had more than 5,000 on-campus students, more than 4,000 online students. We have more than 90 academic programs. These are in the areas of sport management, sport marketing and sponsorship, football business, and coaching. 127 faculty members. We have 16 international agents, and our programs, specifically our master in sport management, has been internationally ranked. Some other facts on our alumni: 60% have experience in the sports industry, 25% of them are elite athletes. So basically the three major profiles of students that we have are former or current athletes, professionals in the sports industry, or professionals from other industries who want to switch to sports, or fresh graduates who want to pursue their master and want to specialize in sport management or sport marketing and football business. You can see here a bit of the map, and we are present all over the world, and that's mostly because we do have the majority of our programs in the online modality, so it can be pursued from anywhere in the world. And then we have different campuses, as you can see here on the map, where we are present. We have agents all over South America, also in different countries in Europe. We are slowly expanding. And then we have centers, so campuses in Mexico, Lima, and Amsterdam. And here in Barcelona, it's where the headquarters are, and the majority of our programs are delivered. This is just a map or how we're planning to expand worldwide. So we are working on it. Yeah, and then a bit of our academic programs. Probably this slide is the most interesting to all of you. We do have a lot of programs, so it might seem a bit overwhelming when you look at it. But the main 4 areas that we offer are sport management, sport marketing and sponsorship, football business, and coaching. In each area, we have master's degrees, we have postgraduate diplomas, and we have specialized courses. Then we also offer different seminars on campus in Barcelona and Amsterdam. All of these courses, there are also modules that are part of postgraduate diplomas and masters. They can be taken individually, so you can register directly for the course of choice directly on our website. You can see we offer financial management, sport marketing, strategic management, innovation. So any area that you can think of, we have a course for in sport management. The same in sport marketing, football business. All the content is 100% focused on football and the football industry. And then we have a coaching area through our master in coaching that we deliver in Amsterdam, coaching referring to self-development, leadership, and coaching philosophy rather than technical. It doesn't cover any technical aspects. Yeah, please, I won't go into in depth too much on these programs. Please feel free to contact me, or you can go to our website. You can find the content for all our masters, postgraduate diploma, and courses. Moving on. A bit about our virtual campus, how we deliver our courses. So we use a very practical methodology, which is called learning by doing. They are basically not live classes, not based on a lot of theory, just a lot of practical study cases that you need to work on, activities that you need to deliver. And we use a lot of different interaction. So the virtual campus is very accessible from any device and at any time. You can study, that's why you can study from anywhere in the world, and you don't have to be present at a specific hour. If there are webinars that are recorded live, you can watch them afterwards. Basically all these materials that you can use to submit your assignments. Then you have a tutor throughout the whole duration of the program, and there is a professor. Usually our professors are all professionals in the sports industry who are there to guide you if you have any questions. Yeah, it's very short. I don't want to go too in detail. I know we're on a time limit here. So please feel free to reach out to me. Prince has my contact details. And any questions you might have regarding our programs, please feel free to reach out.
All right, thank you very much, Ozana. That was pretty much very, very sharp and crisp, straight to the point. I'll be selfish. I'm the host, so I get to ask only one question. Do you offer scholarships?
We have a scholarship initiative. It's called the Cruyff Athlete Fund. So there's a website. If you just put the Cruyff Athlete Fund, you'll see all the requirements for the scholarship. It's aimed at athletes or athletes approaching retirement or retired athletes.
Thank you very much, Ozana Magimian. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for the insights you've given us as far as the Cruyff Institute is concerned. It was founded only in 1999, but I tell you what, down to this time, they've risen to become one of the elite educational institutes across the globe. Thank you for your time today. All right, so from a lot of the comments I'm having in the chat, Mr. Nana Yaw Amponsah, our audience here today wants me to give you a minute and a half for your final take and final comments before we run out of here. So Nana Yaw Amponsah, the floor is yours now for your final comments.
Okay, thank you very much for having me. I'd like to commend ASC for this initiative. Prince, well done. I'd like to thank fellow panelists for the insight. I've learned a lot today. I'll just conclude by saying and repeating myself again that football is a serious business and we need to take it seriously. And as football clubs, we need to understand that our passionate fans are also our customers, and we need to treat them well as customers so they will continue to patronize our products. Once we see them in that light, then definitely we are going to succeed. I always say without a doubt that Kotoko is one of the companies with the greatest customer base in Ghana, and therefore we'll continue to cherish our customers who are the fans, who also happen to be the owners of the club. So we treat them as owners and we treat them as customers and give them the best, and remember that the customer is always right. So we'll always make sure that they are happy to patronize our products so that we can together develop the club. We cannot do it without them. So I thank our fans very much for continuously and passionately supporting us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nana Yaw Amponsah. I'm happy. I'm sure your fans will be delighted and happy to have had you join us and have shared your thoughts with us. I want to say a very big thank you to everybody who joined us today on this webinar. It's been really insightful. A big thank you to Mr. Prince Narkortu Teye. A big thank you to Mr. Nana Yaw Amponsah and to Mr. Lukas Dorda. Also to Ms. Ozana Magimian from the JCI. Let me now tell you that you can follow ASC on Twitter at ASC Afro, at ASC Afro on Twitter. You can also do the same on Facebook. African Sports Center is how you find them. African Sports Center is also how you find them on LinkedIn and on YouTube. That is African Sports Center for Data, Research and Technology. This whole webinar will be posted later on their YouTube platform. So just in case you want to revisit things that were said, you could go and watch it again or share with your friends to have all the insights that we've enjoyed here today. Slight announcement before we run out of here. Next year, in the last few years, ASC has come up with the Ghana Premier League report. However, there wouldn't be a Ghana Premier League report next year. Yeah, I know there will be reactions to that. The big question will be why. That would afford ASC the opportunity to be able to enter other African territories, perhaps Nigeria, it could be Togo, it could be Benin. So now the report has moved, the reports in Ghana has moved from yearly to biannual. What that means is that reports from Ghana is going to be released every 2 years, which affords ASC the opportunity to go to other countries and also work on their league's reports. However, for the Ghanaian market, there's something big which is coming. So all we can say now from ASC is that you should anticipate. In the absence of the reports next year, there's something mega coming from ASC. So just anticipate. They'll be rolling out on the social media handles I gave to you. So do please just do follow them. Thank you very much, everybody who joined today. It's been a real pleasure coming your way with this webinar. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, thoroughly learned it. It was meant to be in 90 minutes, but as you know, in football, there's always extra time or stoppage time. We are into stoppage time. Game is just about to end. And there's the final whistle that is gone. Thank you, Nana Yaw, again. Thank you, Lucas. Thank you, Prince. Thank you, all of you who joined, Aminu Shadow and the rest, everybody who joined Ms. Maginian. Thanks so much for your time. From me, from ASC, it is bye-bye for now. And as always, as I do say, Mia Gadogo, Godo. It's bye-bye. Have a good evening.